This is the research output for team number 1. So the questions we were giving were the following, where we identified the problems mainly around lack of knowledge and awareness, which allowed us to come up with 3 research questions, which were the willingness to pay of customers, alternative to plastic, and who should we target. To answer those questions for our primary research, we conducted individual interviews and focus groups, comprising 100 people from different age groups, as seen in the pie chart. For our secondary research, we analyzed in depth different summaries, reports, and studies in order to be able to come up with more accurate results and efficient solutions.
We will now present the results of our research.
Our first question is how many people are willing to pay for environmentally friendly products? Through our research, we have concluded that overall demand for environmentally products is increasing, which we think is very good market opportunity for Ocean52. Regarding the secondary research, this graph summarizes our conclusion that affordability is less important for younger generations if the product uses recycled material. Another challenge when choosing between affordability and sustainability is price. We can draw that people will be much more willing to pay for sustainable products as long as they remain price competitive for consumers, as affordability is still what they prioritize. The higher the income of a person, the more it would spend for eco-friendly products. From this, we can see that actually price doesn't stand as one of the main difficulties when it comes to selling for Ocean52, as long as the price remains competitive with other prices we are using to paying for water.
Moving on to question 2, what alternative to plastic do people think is more environmentally friendly? So as we've seen, customers see recyclability as the most important factor of environmentally friendly packaging. However, it isn't clear to them that metal or aluminum is actually a good alternative to plastic. People tend to view paper, Tetra Paks, and glass as a better option.
Moving on to question 3, which type of customers are more likely to buy the product? As we have seen earlier, young people are more willing to pay if the product contains recyclable materials and are less attentive to price than their older counterparts. Perhaps younger generations can care more about the environment, probably because it is a topic they have grown up being more conscious about it. Moreover, we can assume that the people that are more likely to buy Ocean52 products are people who are passionate about the protection of the ocean. Because packaging is respectful to the ocean, the aluminum cans are technically recyclable.
So here are some of our additional findings. To begin with, when asked about which marketing channels they think was the most effective one, 73% stated social media. 70% of the people we interviewed also stated that they viewed drinking from a can as strange and that they were not really used to the idea. Furthermore, when we asked in focus groups why would they not buy the can, these following reasons came up. Lastly, we asked in focus groups, where would you expect to find a no-plastic water option? And here were the following answers, again in order of importance. After having done and analyzed our research, we would like to present our recommendations and answers to Ocean52's initial questions. So the first one was how to increase penetration in the different selected channels. Well, our main proposal for this question would be to launch a marketing campaign based on education. So why, you may ask? Well, because we seriously believe that people do not have enough information to be convinced that aluminum cans are actually a great alternative to plastic. As you can see, in our focus groups, a very recurring reason for not buying the can was because people believe that there are more sustainable options that exist in the market. We found out that people were mainly talking about glass and Tetra Paks, which are in reality not very recyclable. There is a clearly lack of information about the topic, and we believe it is a subject that actually interests more people than we know. This is why we believe it is necessary to educate people on Ocean52's key player, aluminum. We recommend launching a marketing campaign that would develop awareness about the recyclability and potential of aluminum cans in the market. We think it would be a great first contact with potential and future customers. And moreover, as we mentioned earlier, the younger generation and young adults are the most sensitized to the subject, which is why we would recommend developing this campaign on social media. These types of platforms enable targeting advertisements, and we think that it can be used as an advantage for the startup, as it can target its marketing campaign to ocean and environmental lovers, who are more likely to be potential customers, but also to young people. Given the fact that Ocean52 is also still in its startup stage, digital advertising would also be the most economic option for them.
Moving on to question 2, which markets do we think should be prioritized? Here we have chosen to focus on 2 markets primarily, which are universities and big fast food chains. Firstly, as we have alluded to earlier, we believe that young people should be taken into account when looking for market penetration channels. This is because according to the results of our research, this category was also the group that considered environmental sustainability the most when purchasing water. as opposed to affordability like their older counterparts. People with the most environmental awareness were the younger test subjects. That brings us to our next question, which is how should this be done? We feel like this can be done by Ocean52 partnering with school catering services and also increasing their brand awareness by organizing talks, adapting to the university's specialties such as marketing talks in business schools. The company could also encourage students to volunteer, such as in the beach cleanup action. Once the students get to know the brand better, it will make it easier to start selling the cans at school because the people will already have a good affinity to the brand. When taking this decision, we took into account that most universities only sell one brand of water, and it's therefore a product that people consume daily, and so whether they want to or not, they learn to know the brand and recognize it. We believe that this would be key in getting people to remember the brand and purchase bottles outside of this market. The other market we think should be prioritized is big fast food chains. One of the reasons why that confirmed this choice for us was that many people in our focus group stated that fast food places were one of the places where they would most likely see themselves drinking canned water. This was because a lot of people reported that they think that drinking water from a can is strange, and that since in these types of environments drinking from cans are already common, it makes it easier for consumers to switch from plastic bottles. Another reason why is that the fast food industry is under constant pressure to go through changes and innovate more than any other food industry, and hence the consumers of these brands are already used to new products being launched often and are therefore more open to it. Also keeping in mind the issue of not being able to close the can, this problem wouldn't really be as relevant in these types of restaurants because people tend to drink their entire beverage on place, eliminating the single-use problem. When it comes to the question of how, a good way to launch this idea would be to add riddles or fun facts about ocean cleaning on the packaging in order to catch people's eyes. When it comes to supermarkets, people often go to buy water there in big amounts, trying to maximize cost efficiency, so the biggest bottles for the lowest price, and this market would hence not be very suitable because their product isn't catered towards large consumption.
Now moving on to our third question, which moment of consumption could be considered as the most relevant one for building the market? Thanks to our research, we found out that people would prefer drinking water from a can when working on daily tasks and while doing sports. Additionally, they would prefer not to drink canned water in the morning, they'd rather drink it in the afternoon. Finally, our bonus recommendation regards investing in research and development. Some spontaneous suggestions that were given from people who were part of our focus groups were to find a solution to add a cap to the can or to completely redesign the can as a closable aluminum bottle. This would allow the company to keep its environmentally friendly solutions, as well as implement a change that would solve the main obstacle people seem to have with the product, which is people's feeling of discomfort when drinking from a can, making the products more adaptable to diverse activities and environmental circumstances. Thank you for listening.